Where we begin? Well, there is a huge football game on Friday. And I'm actually going to peel back the curtains a little bit when it comes to tonight's show. When my eyes open in the morning, I'm automatically in show prep mode. Show prep begins. What am I thinking? How am I feeling? And then you always have to make adjustments accordingly based off of any breaking news that happens. And with Eagles-Bears right around the corner, naturally, I thought a good show topic would be, it's time to put Dallas behind us. Let's go win a damn football game and make a statement. And as I started to walk through and talk through my internal monologue or dialogue, and I go, all right, well, this is what I'm going, one thing I can't do is BS the people. It felt fake. It felt like I was forcing it. The truth is, I'm not over Dallas. I'm not. I'm still almost shocked. 3 days later, and I'm sitting here staring at a wall, not knowing how you could possibly go that quiet. It was so unacceptable. And a few years back, San Francisco came to South Philadelphia and took your soul. And I'm not telling you I feel the same exact way, but I'm closer to that 2023 San Francisco loss than I would like to admit. They have a chance to recover. This game against Chicago will tell us everything we need to know about this group. But one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to act like I'm not hurt. I'm not going to act like I'm Tommy Toughnuts. I'm not. Today, I am not. I can't put on a front. What happened in Dallas truly crushed me. And I need to know. I want honesty from you out there at 215-592-9494. Are you over the loss? Are you really locked in to Friday? Not, well, I kind of have to force myself to be. Not that. Because then your answer is no. You're not over the loss. I want honesty. Because I watch a team that clearly doesn't believe in Kevin Patullo anymore. Something ain't right. Nick Sirianni doesn't have the team prepared for the defensive fronts that Dallas is throwing their way. How do you miss that? That's the first thing you should recognize on tape when trying to get your offense right. That's the first thing that you study. Is Dallas got new faces, and this is what they are trying to do with new faces. And somehow he completely botched that? How does the run game look this poor? Why does Tank Bigsby get 8-9 yards per carry, and Saquon Barkley is trying to dance nonstop and hit a home run every time? Tough, detailed together. That's what Nick Sirianni says. Why? Why do they have so many penalties? Why do they look so incompetent? Why can I rely on the head coach to help out an offensive coordinator that is clearly sinking right now on the sidelines, and the game is just not flowing for Kevin Patullo because he just doesn't have it. But I would like my head coach to be able to help out, but he can't. So because of everything I just mentioned, I am not over the disaster in Dallas. 215-592-9494. Are you? I want you to take a listen to this audio here because Nick Foles was on a podcast talking about this offense, what's wrong with it, what he's seeing. And this is what he had to say about the offensive coordinator.
There's just an art, and I don't see that this year. I don't think anyone sees it. Even fans that are passionate Eagles fans, because I spent a lot of, I've been to Philly several times, and you hear every time I run across Philly, man, what do you think is going to happen with the offense? Mm-hmm. What's going on? Like, is this Jalen? I'm like, listen, it's a team thing. When you get like, listen, Kevin Patullo is probably a great dude, great coach, but like there's an art to play calling that not everyone has, and it's not showing up this year. So I agree with you.
It's pretty obvious that he doesn't have what it takes right now. This is the risk that you take when you get a first-time play caller with the expectation being to win a championship. It's hard to do it if you're expected to win 8 games, let alone win 14 and a back-to-back Super Bowl. And it would be lovely if we had an offensive guru head coach that could be someone to rely on in this situation, but that's not his strength. And look, I'm just telling you how I feel right now, all right? This type of stuff, it boils inside of me, and it gets me angry. I'm not giving you long-term sort of analysis here with Nick Sirianni, meaning I'm frustrated in the now. I'm not calling for Nick Sirianni's job, but I'm going to let you know I'm very aggravated. I'm going to let you know that I think he's having a disaster year, and if Saquon's having a disaster year, I say that. I still want Saquon, but it's poor. It's not okay. Lane Johnson, Mailata, Cam Jurgens, Dickerson, not okay. I have a standard for you. Just because I show frustration with them doesn't mean I'm pulling the plug on the experience with those offensive linemen or with Saquon Barkley. Same applies with the head coach. So I am going to vent. I am going to yell. I am going to be bothered. And I'm going to be extremely disappointed with a lot of things that we talk about today. And that doesn't mean I'm making big picture claims that this guy's awful forever and this team's going to be bad forever. I'm telling you how I feel after the disaster in Dallas. And the game on Friday will tell me everything I need to know. Let's go to the phones at 215-592-9494. I want honesty from the people tonight. Are you really over that loss, or are you just trying to convince yourself that you are because you blink and the game's going to be here? You blink and the Bears will be running out the tunnel, 2 8-3 teams, firing it up and getting after it on the gridiron. Because I'm not over it. And I'm not just going to put on some front and act as if I'm in this good headspace. I'm not in a good headspace right now. But I am very willing to admit that it takes one good performance and a solid victory for me to take a deep breath. That I won't hide from. This just came to me, Lewis. I'm going to send this over to you because it perfectly describes where my head is at with this offense. Let's listen to Greg Cassell on the Ross Tucker pod. This is what he had to say.
I don't think the A.J. Brown is really overly relevant to the conversation about the Eagles' passing game. I'm just totally confused and in many ways befuddled by the fact that the Eagles' passing game is so elementary and remedial in its concepts. You know me well enough to know I don't rip coaches. I don't do that. There's a reason. The question I keep asking myself is why? And I wish I knew the answer to that, Ross, and I'm being honest. I wish I knew why the Eagles' passing game looks like a 9th grade passing game in terms of concepts and route combinations. So that's the question that I keep asking myself, and I don't have an answer. But this is not an A.J. Brown question whatsoever. He's not relevant to this conversation.
Do you know how damning that is? This is a professional tape watcher. He's human. Not everybody's perfect. Sometimes you see tape differently than other people, and there's a lot of opinions out there on what's happening with this football team. I want to put that out there. With that said, Greg Cassell is very, very, very knowledgeable and has seen a lot of tape. This man just said this looks like a 9th grade offense. 9th grade. That is freshman football. It would be terrible if he said it looks like varsity high school football. He said 9th grade. Freshmen. 13-year-olds. So I don't know if anything's going to change because you wouldn't be running 9th grade football if you had brain cells. So this is what they are. It's just, will this recipe work? To this point, it won 8 out of 11 games. And you beat all the good teams with this. You beat Green Bay. You beat Detroit. You beat the Rams. You beat the Bucks. You beat the Chiefs. You beat Dallas in game 1 when it's a very weird game of the year. So maybe the equation works. And I'm freaking out about it for no reason. But when you are coming off of a game like you just saw in Dallas, I'm just very discombobulated. Back to the phones. Carl in Maryland. What's up, Carl?
Good evening. First off, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Same to you, Carl. I appreciate that.
I've listened to a number of hosts on the station and an endless number of callers regarding what's good and what's not good with the Eagles. But I haven't heard anybody put their finger on what I see to be the problem.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts is either the 7th or the 9th highest paid player in the NFL. But he's not a guy who can carry a team alone on his back. He's as good as the pieces are around him.
Sure. I think how many do that, though, in the league? 2, maybe?
Very few.
Yeah.
But the Eagles have shed a lot of salary from last year's team with a lot of supportive pieces. They got rid of Slay and Isaiah Rodgers. They did not draft a replacement. They shed Mekhi Becton. They did not draft a replacement. They lost Josh Sweat. They did not draft a replacement.
Well, yeah, they did. They just did in previous years. They drafted Jalix Hunt, and they drafted Tyler Steen. So these guys were always going to eventually take over whenever needed. They just drafted them in previous off seasons.
Well, the inevitable outcome when you pay a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, who needs a lot of supporting cast around him, and you pay him that, you're going to be constantly in a situation. This year they'll have. But
his cap hit is 20 million. His cap hit's not that heavy, though.
You are going to have people who are going to demand salary, and you're just not going to be able to make it work.
The Jalen contract is not limiting the roster on paper. That's not where the issue lies.
I disagree.
But he's making $20 million this year on the cap hit. $20 million. Dak Prescott gets paid $50.
Part of the problem with the Cowboys is they're paying him far too much.
Well, he's doubling. Jalen Hurts' contract is not that heavy compared to what the contracts are. He's not. Maybe you could make the argument Saquon's contract might be limiting you. But some of the ways that Howie Roseman constructually puts this together with the contracts and all, Jalen, AJ, Devontae, based off of what the league says they are, they're actually underpaid. And he just pays them super early, and they pay them cash up front. So then it's a lot different on the books. So when you watch this team, Carl, you think the reason why they're struggling is they don't have enough talent on paper because Jalen gets paid too much?
When I watch this team, what I see is a team that lost a lot of pieces that they had from a very successful team last year.
But that's every team that ever wins the championship.
And they're paying the price for it.
But that's just called winning a Super Bowl. Because when you win a Super Bowl, there's free agents. And every year, whoever wins the Super Bowl, their free agents get picked up because they're great players and other teams pay their free agents a lot of money. So this isn't anything that the Eagles are experiencing that other teams don't experience off-season after winning a championship.
They're never going to replace a Milt Williams when he gets paid crazy money elsewhere.
Right, but Ajomo did. Ajomo's been playing better than Milton Williams last year, statistically speaking. He's been better than Milton Williams.
But look at where they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable at the second cornerback position. They're vulnerable at the right guard position, and they can't put constant pressure.
But Mekhi Becton is doing horrible with the Chargers.
Well, he's been hurt.
Right, but isn't that the problem? Is this offensive line's hurt because they just won a Super Bowl? So I don't think it's not Jalen's contract. I think there's two things here. I think there's wear and tear when you win a Super Bowl, and every offensive lineman's hurt this year that won a Super Bowl last year. Mailata's not playing the same way. Landon Dickerson's not. Cam Jurgens isn't. Lane Johnson isn't. And now Mekhi Becton isn't when you look at the Chargers. So all the linemen that won the Super Bowl last year are all dinged up and not playing to their capability. And when you win a Super Bowl, teams are going to pluck away your free agents. That's not a Jalen Hurts contract problem. That's just what happens in the NFL.
Eagles haven't drafted on the offensive side since 2021.
Haven't drafted
and I think
what?
It's really coming to roost now.
They haven't drafted an. They've been drafted. They draft offensive linemen every year, Carl. They draft offensive linemen every year.
Yeah, but they're not making it on the team. They're not getting.
Well, that's because you have Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, and Cam Jurgens here.
Well, if some of those guys, if 3 of the 4 people you mentioned didn't have an injury history, then I would agree with you.
So is Jalen's contract the reason why they didn't draft? So it seems like you're shifting now to the draft was the problem.
Well, I think there are a variety of issues here. I think they should have anticipated a little bit. They've drafted heavy on the defensive side, which is good for the defense. But the fact that we're having discussions regarding the offense, look to the history, and I think you start to see the answers. And I think, and Jalen Hurts, so long as he encumbers this much money.
But he doesn't, though. This much, but he doesn't actually get paid that much money in the NFL for quarterbacks. He doesn't make that much money, though.
For what he's providing for the team. The team was better when they had better pieces last year.
But he's making less than his actual value.
He's making less?
He's making less money per year than what his actual value is.
What is his actual value, I guess?
Well, I mean, right now, his cap hit is $20 million. He's the MVP of the Super Bowl.
He's fine if you put the right pieces around him.
He was the most valuable player in the Super Bowl, and now his cap hit is at $20 million, which means he's not that much of a salary issue. Carl, I appreciate the call. I didn't know what the issue was with Carl. Is it drafting? Is it Jalen Hurts' contract? Which, again, not the problem. Not the problem. I'm a little lost. 215-592-9494. I am still broken from Dallas, and I can't move on. I should be moved on by now, just based off of the schedule, the timeline. In a half hour, it's going to be Thursday morning. I should totally, 1,000% be thinking about Chicago. Not 1 ounce of my body's thinking about Chicago. And 100% of my body's thinking about blowing a 21-point lead to the Dallas Cowboys. That game was demoralizing. And it takes more than 72 hours for me to break that. Are you tougher than me? Are you willing to move past that? I can't. 215-592-9494. Coming up next, we'll get to that Sheil Kapadia audio with the morning show on the offensive line, and we'll take your calls. It's Brodes, it's you, it's 94 WIP. I can't get over that game against Dallas. I can't. I want to put my hand in the dirt and say, big game on Friday, boys. Let's go. Let's go kick some ass. I'm over that game in Dallas. Let's go. But I'd be lying. I don't lie. That's not me. I don't lie. I don't BS you. I'm Mr. Softy. Before we get back to the phones, I want to play audio for you. So, Sheil Kapadia was on with our wonderful morning show, Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie. And real quick, before we get to the audio. So, I've been catching a lot more of the morning show lately because I've been driving my daughter to my mother-in-law's house for, what's the right word I'm looking for here? Daycare, I guess you'd call it. And I've just been driving around in the morning a lot more lately. Dude, they crack me the hell up. Oh, do they crack me the hell up. It's just a shout-out to the morning show. That's all. Joe had me cracking up. What was he saying this morning? I was talking about when you take a number 2, how he takes pictures of it, and he's so proud of it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Of course. And it made me, I'm sitting there cracking up. I wonder, like, does my daughter know what's going on? You know, she's going to be 2. Is she like going, oh, is that something I do? But anyway. Sheil Kapadia joined the morning show, and this is what he had to say about the Eagles' offensive line.
We're 12 weeks in, and this offense does not look good.
So, Sheil, on the offensive line, when you break down the film, how much have Dickerson, Mailata, Jurgens related to injury or otherwise? How much have they taken a step back compared to last year?
I thought this last game was maybe the worst the offensive line has played all season long. I was pretty concerned watching them against Dallas. Yeah, I do think it's a step back, and I was trying to think of the last time an Eagles offensive. I don't think an Eagles offensive line during this Sirianni-Hurts era has had the struggles that this group is having right now. And most weeks it's more in the run game than the pass game. I thought last week it was in the pass game as well. Of course, you got Fred Johnson out there at right tackle. So, yeah, it's just not nearly I wouldn't tell you it's like a bad group if you're looking league-wide. Hey, no, I don't think so. I think it would be more mediocre, and there are weeks where it's above average. But overall, compared to the standard that we've seen for these teams, it is quite different.
That is such a massive statement. Such a massive statement when it comes to the run game. Because there are worse offensive lines with worse running backs, with worse quarterbacks, with worse wide receivers to account for, with worse coaching staffs, ones that haven't won a Super Bowl before, who do more. The fact that he's correct by saying there's a certain standard here, and when you view it in the lens of the standard, it's a disaster. He's going as far as saying, but league-wide, it's still above average. Still average. Well, then, we can't be accepting Saquon doing this. Like, we can't. If this is league average, dude, he had below average in New York. He had below average with the New York Giants. And look what he was able to do. So for everyone saying it's not on Saquon, if this is league average, then we have to have a serious discussion about what Saquon's doing. Because every time Tank Bigsby gets the ball, he's getting 9 yards. I'm just saying. Dave in Lansdale. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, how are you doing, Hunter?
Good, man. What's up?
Good. I'm not over the Dallas loss either. This is just my reaction, just how I feel about the game.
Okay.
It's just like the defense played so well in the first half, and then they just fell apart. And I don't want to say fell apart, but what you give up over 20 points in the second half. And I like our defense. I actually feel comfortable about our defense. And when you shut down Josh Jacobs and then the Lions the next week, the best offense in the NFL, I think that's impressive for our defense. But the offense, I think the offense should have scored at least a touchdown and a field goal in the second half, at least minimum to secure that game. That's how I felt about the game and kind of still feel about it.
No doubt.
I'm a little bit concerned with.
Yeah. No doubt. Now, do you have faith that KP can figure it out, or are you a believer that maybe the equation that I mentioned earlier about not turning the ball over can be beneficial enough? Where are you for the long term here with this same group? Do you think they have enough to overcome this crazy adversity?
Honestly, what I think, and I think a couple things. One, part of me, and this could not be true at all, but I wonder if they're hiding stuff for the playoffs or later in the year. And also, I think they got to pass the ball more. I think they got to pass the ball a little bit more. I think if they, change it up, I think sometimes they run the ball, and then when they get into situations where they're 3rd and 12, they're screwed. And I feel like they're in that situation a little frequently. So they got to throw the ball more, use A.J. Brown, use Devontae Smith. They're really good at using Dallas Goedert. But I don't know, man. I don't draw up the plays. That's why they pay him the big bucks.
I love that. Dave, appreciate it, man. Always love hearing from you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your fam. That's funny. So I'm not a big believer in their holding stuff back. I think when there's this much criticism league-wide, you're not just waiting to unleash this crazy beast. I think there's a reason why league-wide they get criticized every day. But there's one area where I think they can be holding on to some things, and that's Jalen in the run game. Because maybe they feel if he's taking X amount of shots throughout the regular season, if he's running 8, 9, 10 times a game, over 17 games, that's X more hits that he's taken. And can we limit his run ability in the regular season and gear that part of the offense up during the postseason? Maybe there's something like that, but that's 2, 3, 4 plays worthy, not an entire offensive identity worthy. But then again, if you do 4 plays, then you can run stuff off of that, thinking he might keep it, and Saquon keeps it. Now there's a different lane that's open because they're crashing down on Jalen, and then it really impacts 8, 9, 10, 11 plays. I don't know. Maybe that's just me coping. John in Manayunk. Yo, John.
Yo, bro.
What's up?
I don't know how you can have a dark cloud following you with a Flyers game like that tonight, baby.
You're right. I'm such a terrible guy.
Puck it up.
Well, hold on a second, John. What did you think when Dvorak dropped past it to Sean Couturier on a breakaway and they ended up not getting a shot on net?
That was one of the, it was like a video game where you just keep hitting the pass button and you just, won't shoot the puck. It's like, dude, shoot the puck.
Coots is frustrating. But then he has that awesome goal with the 15 seconds left or whatever.
Yeah. Pretty much iced the game. That was nice. Yeah, listen, real quick, I just want to talk Birds for a second because here's the thing. I actually beating the same team twice in the same year is tough. So I'm not as dogged up about the Cowboys. Here's two. I think the two main issues for the Birds right now. Right, I think it's pretty clear. First of all, I don't know enough about football to say that our offensive coordinator is not good enough. All I know is that there's probably the list of players on our offense who have complained about this guy is probably as long as the list of players that have not done it. Like when it's one player or another player saying it, maybe, okay, they're just not getting the ball enough. How many people from our offense have to complain about our coordinator being lame and corny before, we just kind of, get rid of him and or change something?
I'll take it a step further. Not only that, how many national media members and tape study people who do it for a living have said that this offense is so vanilla? A.J. Brown, they know exactly. Chad Ochocinco a few days ago said, I don't even watch film, and I know exactly what A.J. Brown is going to do, where he's lined up based off of where Smitty is, and he doesn't even watch film. Could you imagine what defensive coordinators know when they sell their soul to watching film?
It's unbelievable. And not only that, dude, it's part of the issue of being a good team for years is the brain drain because your coaches keep getting hired from other teams. But, at the end of the day, dude, how many coordinators have got to come in here? Let's have somebody stay with the team and get comfortable. Jalen's had, 10 coordinators, dude. At the end of the day, too, Jaden's not playing the greatest, but he's not the problem. Here's the second part. That was the first. First part is our offensive coordinator probably sucks. Second one is this clearly. And I don't need Jason Avant to tell me this. AJ's been a sourpuss after every single game. We finally lose. He's happy because he got the ball. Everybody else on the team was sad except him. So you know what, dude? I stood up for him a bunch because I think the media stinks a lot. Dude, yeah, AJ is the worst teammate, clearly. And I bet you over time that gets the team turned off. When you're happy in the postgame making jokes when they just lost, but you're miserable and pouting when they won because you didn't get the ball, it's actually horrible, and I hope they trade him. I swear to God.
Well, I do think
Flyers.
Go Flyers, John. Thank you for the call. I do think that he's going to be gone after this year. That I do think is real. I don't think that this is something that they want to deal with over and over and over again. And at some point, it kind of runs its course, and that's it. But no, I agree with you. I mean, they won a playoff game against the Giants, $5 billion to nothing, and he was crying they didn't get the ball enough. Won a playoff game, $50 billion to nothing. When he wasn't available for one of the Tampa Bay playoff games, he didn't show up, and he was in Atlantic City at a boxing match. He didn't show up to the playoff game against Tampa Bay. He was at a boxing match in Atlantic City. What are we doing? what are we doing? That one never gets talked about. So, yeah, I'm with you. The AJ thing is crazy to me. But here's another part of it, too, though. And I'm a big believer in this. I also understand his greatness. I'm not one of those that think you're better on the field without A.J. Brown, because I just don't think that's true. Now, maybe it's one of those things where it's addition by subtraction because there's just so much controversy around one player and there's so much you got to deal with on an emotional stage inside that locker room because you're almost walking on eggshells because you don't want to ruffle any feathers with A.J. Brown and you got to tiptoe around A.J. Brown and all that maybe just creates a weird environment, and at some point it just reaches a breaking point, and maybe we're there where it's addition by subtraction, but I don't want to devalue what he does mean to this team. So, A.J. Brown, by the way, this was in 2020. So this was the year where they had the collapse and lost in Tampa Bay. A.J. Brown has been ruled out of the Philadelphia Eagles wildcard game tonight versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers due to a knee injury, and he looks defeated at a boxing match. How's that for a headline? Philadelphia Eagles receiver A.J. Brown looked a bit down at a boxing match prior to Monday's playoff game in Tampa Bay, which he will be inactive for. That's good. He was spotted ringside in attendance.
This was during the game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't.
I don't even, honestly, I don't remember that.
I know. Most people don't remember it. He was in Atlantic City at the Adrian Phillips Theater. They played on Monday night in the wild card game. This was during their collapse of a season. I'm inactive. I'm hurt. Not going to be there for the fellas. I'm looking at the picture right here. There he is. Sitting there.
How is that just buried?
It wasn't at the time.
But I mean, now, there's so much, everyone's talking about him still. How has that not been brought up?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because there's 75,000 things that he's doing right now that's more problematic. Yeah. That's why. He's doing a billion different things. To Khalil. What's going on, Khalil?
Hey, bros. How you doing, man?
Good, man. What's going on?
Oh, man. Happy holidays to you.
Yeah, same to you.
Bros, big fan, by the way, man. I've been following you.
Thank you. I actually grew up in Sicklerville. Did you go to Timber Creek?
No, I moved to Sickler about 6 years ago. My daughter goes to Timber Creek High School, though.
Okay, I went to Gloucester Catholic, but I would have went to Timber Creek because I obviously lived in the area. So I'm a Sicklerville'sman myself.
Nice. All right, bros. I'm gonna tell you, I'm kind of over it because you pretty much hit the nail right on the head. A couple of things you just said, right? Self-inflicted wounds, man. We were going into this game coming off a Giants loss. We looked like how we looked at the Giants, and I would feel crazy. But, man, we moved the ball. We had penalties. I mean, the guy had that stat about the second half numbers, but a lot of them was called back through the penalties, man. Mm-hmm. The Saquon fumble, uncharacteristic. That Saquon fumble don't happen, we win a game. The missed field goal don't happen, we win a game. I know that's a lot of ifs and excuses, but I say that to say we were okay. We were okay, but we beat ourselves. If we look like the Giants just whooped us. The Giants just whooped us.
And remember, that was a Thursday game. Weird things happen. Right. I'm willing to chalk that one up to like, whoa, what was that, you know?
Facts. But if the Cowboys whooped us like that, then I would be like, oh, man. But we beat ourselves, bros, man. We gotta clean that up. It's uncharacteristic, but I am up with you guys with the KP sucks. I'm on that train, but I'm also on a train of players play at the end of the day.
Okay.
And the players that I'm looking at the most is the offensive line, bros. Man, we can't win with this offensive line, playing like it's playing.
Yeah.
If you look at historically with Nick Sirianni, when all else fails, we need to do a 6-minute drive to wrap up a game or tie up a game, whatever. He leans on the run. Swift, Miles Sanders, it doesn't matter. We're running the ball, whether it be RPOs, whatever the case may be, couple play actions. We're taking 6-minute drives to close out the game, and we're running the ball. This year, we can't do that. And that's huge. We've always linked on the run, especially to close out games.
No, you're right. They're one-dimensional, and I'm a huge Jalen guy, but, what makes Jalen special is when the run game's clicking, he's a threat in the run game, and then that helps open up his passing game, which he's got a way better arm than people give him credit for, but it is married together with the run portion of it, and they're so one-dimensional right now. But let me ask you this, though, Khalil, because I agree with you that it seems more self-inflicted. But I guess the question becomes, do you think they are capable of cleaning that up if we're this deep into the season and it hasn't been cleaned up yet?
Bros, come on, man. We got the track record already, man.
I know.
That question is crazy to me, bros. Come on,
I know.
man.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
We're not the Browns, man.
Right.
Man. We're not. We're a winning organization here, man.
You're right. We got Jalen.
Yes.
We got Jalen.
Yes, we got Jalen, and we've been through this. We've been through these battles. We done did this. We done had AJ controversy we overcame. We done had all of this that happened before in the past, and we have overcame these things. So, yes, we can clean it up, and we will.
All right.
We will. But that's why I'm on to the next, because I think it just was a lot of the Zach Bomb drop interception. A lot of this was just like, come on. Like in his hands on his helmet. It's just like, he gets that, it's over. And I say a lot of ifs, but they were big plays, and, uncharacteristic on a lot of those things. Just one penalty. That the Devontae Smith, the one stays, we win. You know what I mean? So That's why I'm on to the next. And Brodes, when was the last time we swept dollars? Let's keep it real. We don't sweep dollars. We don't.
I
We
know
don't sweep them.
it pain, but not like that. Hey, Khalil, I love you, dude. I appreciate the call. I want to hear from you again. But why'd it have to be a 21-0 comeback though? Right? If we're going down the philosophy of we don't sweep them, then just give me like a traditional 24-21 loss where you go back and forth. We score a touchdown, they score a touchdown. We kick a field goal, they kick a field goal. At the end of the day, you make a mistake. They don't. You chalk it up to, wow, that was unfair. How many times does Jalen throw an interception? He only has one all year. Oh, well, he was due for, okay, move on to the next game. Why has it got to be that?